Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I'm taking a look at the Motorola Droid X. Now, Verizon launched this phone on July 15th. It's the latest addition to their Android stable of smartphones. It was priced at $200 after a $100 mail-in rebate, much like the smaller Droid Incredible, which has been back-ordered basically permanently since its launch because of a shortage on the AMOLED display, that 3.7-inch beautiful screen that it has. Now, I have been using the Droid Incredible since launch, and I'm really happy with the phone. However, I finally got my hands on the extended battery, and as I mentioned in my previous review, the battery life on this phone was really poor. So the extended battery, while taking away from that really sleek design, it did get me that extra time that I needed. However, the Moto X just totally destroys the Incredible in battery life. So let's get that down on paper right now. If you're thinking about battery life and which one is going to keep you tethered to a socket or encourage you to buy extra batteries, the Droid X is definitely going to be a far superior phone in terms of actual use and productivity, in my opinion. Now, it has a 4.3-inch screen, which clearly dwarfs the Incredible, so it's really a matter of what you feel comfortable having in your pocket. As you can see there side by side, the AMOLED display just blows away the LCD, even though the LCD is a higher res, so it has a better pixel density. The AMOLED technology in terms of the color saturation and viewing angles is just far superior. And while I wish the Moto X had it, well, it doesn't. So let's talk about what the Moto X does have for that $200 after rebate. Beyond its 4.3-inch 854 by 480, I believe, resolution, it's the same as the original Moto Droid. It has an 8-megapixel camera that's also capable of 720p video. It has HDMI out. It has 512 megs of RAM for its ROM, and it also has 8 gigs of internal storage built in, and then Verizon has pre-installed a 16 gig micro SD card, much like they did with the Motorola Droid. In other words, this is the flagship phone of the summer that Verizon customers have been waiting for, especially if they've been waiting for the Incredible. So, really what it comes down to is, if the Incredible is where it's at for you in terms of pocketability, I recommend the Incredible. You can't go wrong with it. It's a really fast phone. However, because it's basically a Nexus 1 in Verizon clothing, you are getting a phone that technology-wise launched in January. The hardware you're seeing here is definitely much younger, which means it will have more longevity, even though it's a much bigger phone. So what does it have? That OMAP 1 GHz processor, it is slightly better than the 1 GHz Snapdragon found in the Incredible. The GPU is also more advanced. I mean, there are a lot of tests and videos you can see here online in terms of browsers where this phone will beat the iPhone, it will beat the Evo 4G. It's just a really solid device. So let's take a look at what the phone cosmetically actually looks like up close. Motorola has ditched the capacitive buttons and gone with hard buttons. As you can see, they have the search, back, home, and menu button. Below it is a microphone. There are 3 on this phone, which lend to great audio fidelity, something I can't say. The Incredible is not bad on audio or call quality or video recording quality. Actually, video recording quality, it is pretty poor. But the Droid X just really flies in terms of its audio fidelity, both in calls and in video recording. Now, on the left side of the device, you can see you have the HDMI cable, or rather micro HDMI port, which you will need a micro HDMI cable. It's not a standard one. I recommend that you guys go online to eBay and order one there rather than getting the dock. It's really overpriced and will provide the same feature, unless you do need the dock for aesthetic purposes or bedside use. You then have your charging port. At the top of the device, you have another one of the 3 microphones, your 3.5mm headphone jack, and of course your power button. On the back, you have your 8-megapixel camera with dual LED flash, again also capable of 720p video recording. Here's the battery door. Really solid. It is an all-plastic handset, but really solid all around. Really light considering the size. There's your speakerphone and your 3rd microphone. Then on the right side of the handset, you have a dedicated camera button, which I really like. Even the color, surprisingly. The contrast of the red on the gray and black is really nice. And then you have your traditional volume rocker. At the top of the phone, you have your LED indicator and your your light sensor, etc., that you find with most smartphones. As you can see, I'm blinking right now because I have email. I believe that's Yahoo email. Now, the interface on this phone is Moto Blur based, so a lot of people aren't going to like that. I'm not a big fan of it. I do prefer the Sense UI, although I will say between the Incredibles' lack of HD video and just the construction feels flimsy compared to the Moto X. There are too many reasons not to pick the Moto X over the Incredible. Again, the only reason to select the Incredible really is the pocketability, the form factor. The Droid X on the whole really burns just about every device on the market right now. I'm not going to compare it to the iPhone 4 because it's a 3.5-inch device. It's just not the same type of experience. This is a more media data-centric device than the iPhone 4, even though the Android App Store is only up to a little over 100,000, and I think Apple has 250,000 or whatever it is. Essentially, this phone is a multimedia powerhouse. I mean, with the right applications, basically any video you drop onto this device, it will play. And it is, after all, running an open OS, which makes a big difference. Beyond the basics, again, like I said, that Moto Blur, not a fan, so I have put Launcherpro on there, which, as you can see, completely gets rid of any sense of the Motorola blur. Again, it'll even turn to landscape, which I really like, and that's also, a lot of people ask about this hump. Now, the hump contours to your hand so you can hold it a little bit more easily, which I happen to really like. Another thing it does is that when you lay it down on a flat surface, it makes sure the phone won't go into landscape mode, which a lot of these phones tend to do. Let me also give you a side-by-side with the Incredible so you see the thickness. They're about the same thickness, when it comes to using the extended battery. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, in terms of length and width, this is definitely a much wider phone. As you can see, a little more fingerprints on this because I do have my Best Skin Ever protecting the screen on this phone. Highly recommend Best Skins Ever. I'm not being paid to do so. It's just a product I really like. Preferred over Zag, an invisible shield. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, folks, what it comes down to is that if you don't really care about a front-facing camera, which I don't, and I'm not saying that simply because I'm a fan of this phone. I believe a front-facing camera is a novelty that we need about 6 months to a year for it to mature properly so that we can do it across all different handsets and OSs, which can't be done right now, at least by the average user. Until that day, I really feel the Moto X is the best available offering on the market from any provider, and I can say that with confidence. And I think anyone who picks it up, as long as they're comfortable with the size, again, it's a slim phone, it's just very long, you'll be very happy with the results because this thing is just beast. That is the word. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the quick review and look at the phone. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them, and please feel free to subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Later.